This year we've already had some looks into fan media on this channel. We looked at some Sonic and Dragon Ball fan animations, and we even had a whole breakdown on a Smash Bros. Infection universe. However, there's one web series, or should I say machinima, that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, and I have seen nobody else talk about this. With the amount of views each episode gets, and all the fan work, like fan art it gets made for it, I'm really surprised nobody else has took it upon themselves to talk about it. This series I'm talking about is called Smash King. On July 7th, 2008, a machinima series created by Toguro21, a team member of a group called Virtual Smash, was first uploaded to YouTube with the name Smash King. Jump forward to present day, and this series now has 22 episodes spanning over more than 15 years of storytelling and passion. Toguro21 now sits at 16.5k subs on YouTube, and Smash King's most recent episode was uploaded a year ago. As I mentioned a moment ago, I have not seen anybody ever cover this series before, which is a surprise to me as I grew up with this series, and to this day I look back fondly on how intense the action was, the old YouTube feeling when watching it, and its unique story beats. So I've taken it upon myself to make an 8-part retrospective series on this piece of Smash fandom history. With the help from my friend Akio, we will be looking at the series as a whole, and then looking at groups of episodes to show how much work and passion goes into each episode and arc, alongside uncovering some of the true depths of its story. Today's video will be an introduction to Smash King, giving a brief summary of its core players and storyline, before diving into each episode. So first, let's look at Toguro's team, the people which helped Toguro make Smash King. That being Virtual Smash.
I told you not to blink, Link.
Oh crap!
Virtual Smash is a machinima group that makes Super Smash Bros. Brawl machinima, created by Mega Blaster. This group has 14 members, with each having an important role. These members include Mega Blaster himself, Yashen Yuan, Electro Blade, Iblis Star Evan, that one lefty, Shadow Link 4321, Pika Maxi, Slight 360X, Captain D64, Toguro21, The Roller Nolan, Angel Glory, and Lord Crazy Brawler. Everyone in this group has made their own machinimas before. Other childhood ones that I watched were Super Smash Bros. TV by Mega Blaster, and also the Roller Nolan Smashers series. Who knows, maybe they will get their own video someday. Everybody in this group seems to have their own role within the group. Some do voice acting, some do composing, animating. Everybody seems to work together on not only the Virtual Smash YouTube channel series, but also on each and everybody else's series as well. Toguro21 even voices Bowser in the Smashers series, and everybody else would voice or work on each other's work. This group seems to work very well together, and they all seem to have some good chemistry, especially with the Virtual Smash series you can find on YouTube, which again may also be its own video in the future. But after talking about Virtual Smash, let's start looking into the world of Smash King itself.
Believe what you want to! Be caught up in your own delusions for all I care! But the rest of the world deserves to be alleviated from your deception!
The world itself. The world of Smash King takes place within Brawl, and is said to be a continuation from the world of Melee. Many stages from Brawl make up the world of Smash King, which our characters roam around. Some main locations are often seen are New Pork City, the Bridge of Elden, Hyrule Temple, and Shadow Moses Island, along with an assortment of stage builder locations. In the world of Smash King, there is something called the Smash King Tournament, which is something I will be expanding upon much later in the video. Like in the Smash games, all these characters that you see are referred to as trophies. As just mentioned, these characters are brought to life from trophies. However, Smash King gives more depth to the nature of trophies and what being a trophy means to our characters. As said right at the beginning of the first episode of Smash King, these trophies
become animate as a character one from the outside world would recognize. However, each character lives life differently than one would perceive of them. That is because they are both that specific character, and yet they are not. Regardless, these characters all live with one default purpose: to fight.
This means that although, for example, Bowser is normally portrayed as a villain, a monster that terrorizes the Mushroom Kingdom, and a frequent kidnapper Princess Peach, in Smash King, he's a protagonist, the hero of sorts, being more compassionate, and instead of against Peach, he works with her. Trophies have what's called a matrix, and as said by Bowser, a matrix is the very core of every trophy in this world. The thing that basically keeps the very framework of your body together. Matrices are important to the power system of the world of Smash King. Trophies are also in possession of 10 stocks. These stocks function as lives for our characters. If all 10 stocks are lost, these trophies are reborn, although they will no longer have their past experiences of their previous life. As mentioned before, in the world of Brawl, there is something called the Smash King Tournament. The way the tournament works is that over the span of 1 month, teams of 3 will venture around from stage to stage fighting each other. Once the 2 teams have settled on the rules of their match, they may fight. If 2 teams are already in combat, a 3rd team cannot intervene. Once the fight is settled, those 2 teams that have just fought are not allowed to fight each other again for the rest of the day. The 2 teams that have gathered the most points by the end of the tournament will face off against each other in the final round. From morning to late noon, everybody is allowed to fight. During that day, there will be a filter that stops participants from losing stocks in the tournament. It is said whoever wins the Smash King tournament will be given 1 wish from the creator. The Smash King tournament is run by King DDD and a group known as the Brawl Spectator Society, with Fox, Falco and Pit being the main trio. The bigger society is what enforces the rules of the tournament, keeps tracks of each point that the teams make, and take any necessary actions to keep the tournament and the world of Brawl running smoothly.
See, what that forum does is take my latent rage and anger and focus it onto one spot of my being, my matrix.
Now before closing things out for today's entry of the Smash King retrospective, I'd like to talk about the 3 major teams that will be important to follow as we progress through the series. Starting with Team Bowser consists of Bowser as the team's captain and is joined by Peach and Meta Knight. Bowser is one of the many incarnations of the King of the Koopas, however this Bowser is different. While he keeps his mean spirit and bad temper, he is also compassionate for his teammates like Liz and Wario. Peach isn't the damsel in distress she's normally represented as to be. This Peach is strong and bold, and is determined to not be someone who is in need of being saved by a strong hero. She is still kind and nice to every character she meets, but if treated like a weak damsel, she'll get upset and annoyed as she wants to be someone who can stand on her own 2 feet. And finally, Meta Knight. Meta Knight has 2 different personalities. One is represented by his red ult. This one is more timid and meek, whereas his default Meta Knight look, which is his other personality, is completely opposite, being bold, cunning and completely noble. Next is Team Sonic. Led by the Blue Blur himself, he is joined by Mario and Ike. Sonic is quite close to his original counterpart, being cocky and kind-hearted. However, he is a lot more selfish at the beginning of the series, but has a somewhat change of heart later on, but doesn't show it to anybody else. Mario is good-natured and friendly, just like his in-game counterpart. He's a lot more serious and arrogant as well, especially when it comes down to Bowser. He also likes to turn off and off his accent, which gets old very quickly. Ike, similar to Meta Knight, is strong, bold, with a heart of a true warrior. He's a little goofy at the start of the series, but eventually gets more serious. He listens to his teammates and their problems and tries to help them in any way, shape or form, whether that's helping them find someone they're looking for, so looking for the best way to go about finding answers. And finally, Team Ganondorf, led by Ganondorf and joined by Lucario and Link. This team works as the antagonizing force of the series. Ganondorf is the most like his original game counterpart, being cunning, malicious, and manipulative. Ganon is also finding a sadistic sense of fun when toying with his opponents. Link is completely different to how he is in his original games. Link's evil, unhinged, and is shown to be some kind of savage animal. And then finally you have Lucario, a cold, mysterious fighter that seems to have some kind of fixation towards Bowser. He's the quietest of the group, opposing Link's chaotic sadism with his rational and calm nature. With all that out of the way, we now have set the stage for the big retrospective. This first entry was just to give a background to what Smash King is and some of its important information and context before we dive heavily into the series and what it has to offer. If you're a fan of Smash King, please, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing so you don't miss each and every entry that comes out. And if you have never seen Smash King before, I highly recommend looking into it. I'll be linking a playlist in the description below. And with that all being said, I have been Lord Lad and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.